Hey, how's it going, people? Michael here. Happy holidays, and thank you for tuning in to Used Gadgets. And in this episode, I'm going to be unboxing and comparing the specs of an iPhone 8 to an iPhone 6, and maybe it will help you decide if it's worth it to upgrade. Stay tuned. But first, a question from my YouTube channel. Strategic Endeavors FX writes, I have a 2007 iMac. I was wondering if I can use a Mac Pro with the iMac as a monitor, or do I have to buy a different monitor? I want a 2009 Mac Pro. This is a good question. Unfortunately, the short answer is no. Basically, he wants to repurpose his older iMac by using it as a display for a newer Mac Pro. This feature is called Target Display Mode, and you can accomplish this by connecting the iMac to the Mac Pro using the correct cable depending on the model years. And I like this idea because it diverts electronic waste. But unfortunately, this feature is only supported on the 2009, 2010, and 2014 iMacs. So you're gonna have to use an external monitor to connect your Mac Pro. But if somebody else out there knows a workaround for this problem, please feel free to chime in the comments section. Thanks for posting your question, and now on to the show. This device was announced by Apple on September 12, 2017 and released 10 days later alongside the higher-end iPhone X. So in this video, I will only be going over the specs and my first impressions, and occasionally I will be comparing it to my other iPhones, the iPhone 6 and the iPhone SE. Let's start with the packaging. I'm always impressed by how Apple makes unboxing their products quite an experience. Instead of simply using a space gray sticker, they even color matched the whole box. They also made opening the primary plastic cover easier. I am now curious as to how much of the total cost is attributed to the design and production of just the packaging alone. It makes for a great unboxing experience, but I'm going to be a Debbie Downer here. I think we as consumers are already producing so much waste, and I believe Apple should have some environmental responsibility when it comes to this. Less packaging will also result in a more affordable phone, but this is of course not really as important as the first reason. I don't know, what do you guys think? Should Apple and other companies continue to produce these sophisticated packaging that turn into waste? So there is the iPhone 8, the iPhone 6, and the iPhone SE side by side. The iPhone 8 is available in 3 finishes: gold, silver, and space gray. I've always been a space gray fan, can you tell? My previous iPhones were also in space gray, so I chose the same color. Let me set aside the iPhone SE for now and focus our attention on these two. What is different on the iPhone 8's finish is the return of the glass back. And the reason why Apple went with the glass back was to finally support wireless charging. Android fans are screaming that this feature has been around for so long, and I know that my Nexus 4 from 5 years ago supported this feature, but it didn't catch on. So look at it this way, now that the iPhones have it, wireless charging will become more popular. The iPhone 8 is also available in 2 memory capacities, 64 gigs and 256 gigabytes. Why they did not release a 128 gigabyte version is quite strange, so if you're going to be taking a lot of videos, it might be better to go for the 256 gigabyte model. The one I have here is the 64 gigabyte model. Now let's compare the physical design of the iPhone 8 to the iPhone 6. Well, they look very similar that it's hard to tell which one is which at first. But the most significant difference is the iPhone 8's glass back, which I heard is prone to getting fingerprints. And a lot of people hate fingerprints on their device. I don't mind it so much because I can just wipe it off easily. I gotta say though that the glass back is so much more grippier than the matte aluminum, which makes me confident to one-hand the device. I also prefer the darker finish of the iPhone 8 over the gray iPhone 6. The iPhone 8's dimensions are 5.45 inches or 138.4 millimeters high, 2.65 inches or 67.3 millimeters wide, and 0.29 inches or 7.3 millimeters thick. Again, this makes the 8 very similar in dimensions to the 6, just marginally thicker and heavier. The iPhone 8's display is a Retina HD display measuring 4.7 inches diagonally. It is a widescreen LCD multi-touch display using IPS technology with a resolution of 1334 by 750 pixels and 326 ppi and a contrast ratio of 1400 to 1. And guess what? These are the exact same specs as on the iPhone 6. Now the chip inside the iPhone 8 is an A11 Bionic chip, which is a 64-bit ARM-based hexacore chip. Apple claims that its two high-performance cores are 25% faster than the Apple A10, and its four high-efficiency cores are 70% faster than the high-efficient cores in the A10. The iPhone 8 has 2 gigs of RAM, whereas the 6 only has 1 gig of RAM. So if the A10 chip on the iPhone 7 is already twice as fast as the A8 dual-core chip on the iPhone 6, this means the iPhone 8 is roughly 250% faster than the iPhone 6. So performance-wise, the iPhone 8 blows the iPhone 6 out of the water. But if you look at some YouTube videos where they do speed tests, they are opening web pages and apps like Mail and Calendar, and the iPhone 8's edge over the 6 is slim to none. For example, I saw a test where the iPhone 8 opened Safari 1 second faster than the iPhone 6. Great, I saved 1 second. You know what I mean? Guys, I'm not discounting the performance edge of the 8 over the 6. I'm just pointing out that for my day-to-day use, faster processors are yielding diminishing returns, so I won't be seeing that much of a practical benefit. The chip also includes a neural network hardware which can perform up to 600 billion operations per second. This dedicated hardware is used for artificial intelligence operations like Face ID and emoji and other machine learning tasks. The iPhone 8 comes with the M11 Motion coprocessor, whereas the iPhone 6 comes with the M8 coprocessor. This collects, processes, and stores data from... Nope. It collects, processes, and stores data from the sensors such as the accelerometer, gyroscope, compass, and barometer, even if the device is asleep. Now let's talk about the cameras. The camera on the iPhone 8 is a 12 megapixel f1.8 aperture lens, and it features optical image stabilization, a 6-element lens, quad LED true tone flash with slow sync, and up to 63 megapixels of panorama shot. The iPhone 6 only has an 8 megapixel f2.2 aperture camera and does not have optical image stabilization. The iPhone 8 supports 4K video recording at 24, 30, or 60 frames per second. The feature is not available on the iPhone 6, and this is the first device that allows me to record in 4K, so I'm pretty excited about that. My wife isn't too impressed because she has had the 4K video on her LG G4 for a long time now. But what I'm excited about is slow-mo video support for 1080p at 120 or 240 frames per second. I think I can make some pretty cool videos using these frame rates. The iPhone 8's front camera is a 7 megapixel f2.2 aperture camera and supports 1080p HD video recording, whereas the iPhone 6 only has a 1.2 megapixel f2.2 aperture camera and only supports 720p HD recording. The Touch ID fingerprint sensor is the same on both devices. This feature has been one of my favorite features on the iPhone, and it has never let me down yet. In terms of battery life, the iPhone 8 has a slightly larger 1,821 milliamp hour battery, whereas the iPhone 6 has a 1,810 milliamp hour battery. It's not fair to compare battery life between these phones now, since I've had the iPhone 6 for much longer, but I suspect that battery life will be the same on both. Overall, my impression of the iPhone 8 is that it looks so similar to the iPhone 6, and honestly, I'm not a fan of the iPhone 6's design. The dimensions of these two phones are almost the same, and to be quite honest, when given the choice at work 2 years ago, I returned the iPhone 6 Plus in favor of the iPhone SE. However, I must say I do prefer the darker glass and the back of the iPhone 8, as I find that it's grippier and more elegant looking. My first reaction to the glass back was that of worrying about cracking not one but two sides of the phone. And Apple claims this to be the most durable glass ever on a smartphone. However, this has been disputed in YouTube video drop tests, which show that it will crack just as easily as any glass phone when dropped on concrete from waist height. And the bad news is the glass back is more expensive to replace than the aluminum version. Perhaps I'm overreacting a little bit because I have owned many devices, and the only time I broke a glass screen was when I dropped my naked BlackBerry Z10 from the main floor to my tiled basement floor. Also, I am most excited about the new features like wireless charging and HD super slow-mo recording. I'm not really that impressed of the faster processor, as I think improvements in that department is hard to notice in my real-life usage of emailing, browsing, and watching videos. Now let's talk about price. The iPhone X is around $1,300 brand new, but keep in mind that the iPhone 8 is still a $900 phone. On the other hand, you can pick up a used 64 gig iPhone 6 for only around $300. As for me, I didn't have to spend a cent because the phone was given to me by my boss. But let me turn this over to you now. Do you think it's worth it to upgrade from an iPhone 6 to an iPhone 8? And I think I'll end it at that. If you like this video, please hit that like button, share it with your friends, or better yet, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video. As always, thanks for watching.